Not a single system that harms women, religion, patriarchy, capitalism, would survive 6 months if women collectively refused to participate. We have the power, but not the will, and it pains me. Hi, Pat from Canada. I agree with you. It's beyond frustrating. It's maddening to me to think about how the power lies with the people and we could stop everything that we're experiencing now, all of the horrors, all of the people dying. Like, we could stop it if we gathered our collective will, we strategized, and we withdrew our labor from the economy. A general strike would stop all of this right now. And I have been saying that since January, and it is making me crazy that I have not seen active steps in planning toward getting us to a place where we can call for a strike and carry one off successfully. And I want to get back to your point about women specifically in just a second. But for me, seeing so many of us who are like, why aren't we stopping this yet? Why aren't we stopping this yet? Why aren't we stopping this yet? Why are we not all doing the thing that will stop this? And I know that we're all resisting in small ways, and it takes that multiplicity of tactics, right? It takes all of us engaged in regular protests, in boycotting organizations, pressuring pillars of support, lobbying, pressuring, pushing our legislators. It takes all of us lending our financial support to the folks who are fighting in the courts for democracy. It takes all of us educating people around us who are ignorant, trying to draw more people into the movement, trying to wake people up and activate them. It takes all of us engaging in malicious compliance wherever we can to gum up and slow down the role of this regime. It takes all of us caring for our neighbors, right? A focus on mutual aid and doing everything that we can to protect the most vulnerable. That is crucial in any resistance movement. But ultimately, the thing that I'm advocating for that will shut this shit down and stop the role of fascism is a general strike. We don't have to be marching in the streets and exposing ourselves to the potential for law enforcement to brutalize us, to trump up charges of resisting arrest, to incarcerate us. We all just need to stay home for as long as it takes. And please, y'all, don't bean soup me in the comments. I understand that there are workers who are not going to be able to withdraw their labor from the workforce. There are going to be doctors and firefighters. I understand that. That's not who I'm talking about. That's not who I'm addressing in this video. We know that general strikes are incredibly, incredibly effective. Look at the Polish workers' solidarity strikes in the 80s. Look at the flight attendants' strike under Trump's first term. The oligarchs want you to think that they are all powerful. The bosses want you to think that they control you. The fascist government wants you to think that they are inevitable and that you need to obey and advance. You need to just give up and accept that you are a pawn that they will use in their plan, that you will inevitably be exploited, that the suffering is inevitable. They don't want you to realize your power. They are terrified of you realizing that we, the people, have all of the power if we choose to exercise it, both at the voting booth and in the workplace. There's a reason that Republicans and corporations in this country have done everything that they can to erode the power of our unions, to erode workers' rights, to make it as hard as possible for us to organize and defend ourselves. There's a reason there are active campaigns from the right and from corporations to make you distrust unions, to make you feel like you're just wasting your money on union dues, because they don't want you to organize. They don't want the people to realize their power and to wield it. And I understand that calling for a strike is the last step. Organizing for laying the foundation, preparing for a strike is a huge lift. It takes a tremendous amount of coordination and preparation. People have to stock up on food. You are asking people to stay home from work for prolonged periods. Look at the Montgomery bus boycott. Look at the Polish workers' strike. We are talking potentially months or years of organized withdrawal of labor. I understand that other people on the internet who know that a general strike, a labor strike, is going to be highly effective are like, come on guys, why aren't we doing it yet? Why aren't we doing it yet? Because it takes so much preparation, because you do not want to call for a strike unless you know you can pull it off. right? You can't call for a strike and then have people who are crossing that picket line and going back to work after just a few days or a few weeks because they're out of food, they're not supported, there's no strike fund, there's no resources for them, there's no community care that has been set up to help them endure the process of staying off the job, of withdrawing their labor, so that we can pressure this regime, so that we can pressure the pillars of support, the corporations, the businesses under this regime. It is a huge lift to organize a strike. And we are seeing our agricultural laborers who are talking more and more about a strike. There was a 3-day ag workers strike in California the other week. Y'all, 3.5% is not a magic number. It's not the number of people that show up to a one-day protest. It's the number of people that are engaged in organized, sustained resistance as a minimum for what we know has historically been successful at building the kind of people power to stop authoritarian regimes. It is descriptive. It is not proscriptive. And those people have to commit to sustained resistance. It has to be effective, organized resistance. And you understand that that 3.5% of people have to be supported by all of these other people behind the scenes. They have to be sustained by the rest of us. I know Ted Stormer said this in a video the other day, and I've been saying this since February. I think the level of sacrifice that the American people have to give in order to stop this is greater than most of us are prepared for at this point in time. We weren't ready in February. I think people are inching toward a point where they realize the level of sacrifice that we must engage in to stop fascism. So I was up really late last night reading through what was happening in Gaza and thinking about how famine is entirely man-made. 3 terrible, cruel men, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Benjamin Netanyahu, are starving people, not just in Gaza, but all over the world, not just in the Sudan, but all over the world. That famine in the modern world is entirely preventable. It is a man-made horror. And I was thinking, just like, when are Americans going to get our shit together and stop this? It's not just what's happening within our borders. Yes, our government is carrying out an ethnic cleansing against brown people in the United States. Yes, our government is now seeking to go for homeless people. Next, I am worried it will be trans people. Next, like, they're just going to keep up and up and up until it's everybody. But at the same time, around the world, we are looking at man-made famines where little kids are being starved to death because Elon Musk gutted USAID, because we have a president in the White House who fully supports Benjamin Netanyahu's plans. He said just the day before yesterday, I think, that Netanyahu should finish the job of what? Of starving little children. And so I was up late last night thinking I'm gonna get choked up. But I was up late last night thinking about how we all have to risk it. Like, we have to be willing to risk something for our fellow human beings, right? Every American has to stand up and be willing to take on a level of risk in order to stop this. We're not going to stop this by staying comfortable. We're not going to stop this by saying other people have to put their necks out. I mean, that's what I felt from the day Donald Trump got elected. I know that by choosing to use my permaculture platform to no longer make gardening content, but to resist fascism, that I was sticking my neck out, that I was putting a target on my back, both from the regime and from crazy MAGA right-wingers. If we all undertake some risk now, personal risk to ourselves, in order to embrace our humanity and defend other people, that is the right thing to do, and that will get the job done. We have to sacrifice in order to stop this. It's not just going to be uncomfortable. It's not just going to be unpleasant. It's going to hurt. And I know I've said this before, but Americans are not very good at experiencing discomfort. We have very little distress tolerance. We don't actually have that much experience with long suffering. And I think that that is to our detriment right now. There are populations within the United States. I'm looking at Black Americans who understand long suffering. They understand having to engage in long haul fights for justice. But white people, we're not super used to that. And I think that we are not accustomed to the level of sacrifice that is going to be required. And if we could have some more radical acceptance about how we have all of the power, but we have to make a sacrifice in order to exercise it, maybe we would get ourselves a little bit closer toward calling for a general strike. And I feel this way about women in particular. We're used to shouldering so much burden. We actually are accustomed to sacrifice in many ways in our society. But I think we often don't think about how we can use our ability to sacrifice and endure in order to be powerful. Yeah, what would it take for women to be able to do this? They did it in Iceland, but honestly, like, what would it take for all of us to understand that we have to risk something in order to wield our power right now and stop the fascists?